From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
I need me a fixin' of dominating with Dawson.
Oh, we are fixing to do it.
Oh, we're fixing.
Dawson, how are you?
Okay.
Stellar. Even better is not seeing you guys.
Wow. The love. Okay. Fine. Just with that attitude, guess who's here?
Ben Dawson. Dawson, how are you?
And I'm great. Who else we got?
And since you're making fun of me already, guess who else we invited?
I see this Levinson character.
Yeah.
Yep. It is a character. It is a character from Lemons.
It is.
Character and a caricature. Alex Levinson. Hi, Alex.
Hey, everybody. What's going on, Ben? What's going on,
Hey.
Vicky?
Filling in for Jennifer. Filling in for Jennifer tonight.
That's right. Jennifer's looking bad tonight.
And Jen, we miss you. We love you.
Feel better.
And because you're not here, you're letting something stupid happen.
That's right.
Just saying.
That's true. All right. So since Alex is here and we're at the circus, let's talk about tents.
All right. There we go. I like that.
How about that?
Yeah. I think that's phenomenal.
That was a bad nomiker. Anyway, so you'll walk around the paddock and people will talk about driving at 8 tenths or 10 tenths or 9 tenths or whatever. Is this something official? Is there a setting in your car that you can set this up to, Mr. Dawson?
Well, I mean, you can definitely feel it in your own body when your body officially ratchets you from 5 tenths to 6 tenths. I mean, you can feel it. You hear the bell goes off and you can tell what's happening. I mean, it's definitely defined. It's the same way for everybody also, right? Everybody thinks of this in the same terms.
Yes. And I believe Ben has his full oversized facetious hat on this evening.
Yes,
apparently.
that's right. I'm kidding. When people are talking about, I was driving, it was a little bit rainy, so I was driving 7 tenths, or, there was a caution out. So I was, I backed it down to 7 tenths to make sure I stayed under control. They're talking about relatively how hard they're driving their vehicle, with like 0 tenths being parked in the pits and 10 tenths being so far at the limit or past the limit that you're about to go off the track, but holding it barely together and as fast as you can possibly go. Those are the two ends of the spectrum, and people see the different waypoints in between there differently in a lot of ways.
Lots of ways.
So I have a question relating to this.
Mm-hmm.
There is arrive and drives that come. And sometimes there is car empathy for arrive and drives. What is the appropriate for driving a vehicle if you are an arrive and drive?
Yeah. What do you say, Alex?
Okay, so actually, this is something that I do a lot of because over the past years, I've driven a multitude of cars, and all of them, besides maybe 2 of them, have been arrive and drives. Empathy for a car is basically my theory of the moment you're strapped in the car and you leave the pit, it's your responsibility to bring that car back in the same state that you left with a little wear and tear on, say, the tires and the brakes, but everything else as crystal perfect as possible.
What if you add leather to the car, like nice, rich?
You bring it back worth more than you brought it. You took it out, like you stopped and put gas back in it before you bring it to the pit.
See, that was a low blow. That was a very, very low blow.
Sorry.
Yeah, but
you people had some.
No,
leather problems.
But
lesson learned.
No, there's actually an opportunity here with this statement. So last last season at Thompson, there was a very intense fight for first and second going on in Lemons, and I was the driver of a car called Black Betty. Darren, Bruce, and Greg own it, and we were fighting up against the Boston Whiners, Anton and Andy in their 444 BMW. And I actually, so funny enough, I got accused of overdriving the car.
By who?
And
Who said that?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who said it. What matters is everything that led up to this. And the end of the day is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car with fine Corinthian leather. I ended up giving surprise rear ending to, or in our circle, the surprise butt sucks. And so, but here's something. This is why this is an opportunity. With all of this that occurred, at the end of it, it is now my responsibility as an arrive and drive to go ahead and make everything good. That is, whether the owners wanted all the replacement parts bought for, put time in to help go ahead and get it fixed or whatnot. I did them a favor by locating and finding all the parts for the car. I paid what they felt was fair for going ahead and getting all the fixes needed for it. I took the time to go ahead and drive down to Philadelphia from Connecticut to go get the said parts. And I helped Bruce go ahead and get some of them back onto the car and get the car squared away. And regardless of the tenths that I was driving it meagerly at 7/10. And 7/10 is in control, going at an uprated pace of just what people normally would expect on track, obviously being full aware and in full control of the car, barely using any slip angle or any type of manipulation of traction, trying to make corners faster. I was just driving the car how it was, and unfortunately I made 3 mistakes in a row, and at 3 mistakes in a row puts you in a bad spot, and the loss of control was just unfortunately locking up brakes under some undulations in the track that I knew were there, but I didn't count how many there were. And that was driving 7/10, and I still ended up rear-ending a car by loss of control.
Ouch.
It happens.
Now that, yes, we're going into, I think maybe we're going off our topic, but it's kind of like a segue topic. What are the general responsibilities when it comes to arriving and driving? If you were to arrive and drive,
whatever the responsibilities are as far as financial should be set up ahead of time. If a driver does something that causes some damage and chooses to kick in labor or time, that's usually on them. But some teams will have a damage waiver that you sign that's very specific about this is your responsibility if this, then that. We've never done that. We've had people come and mess our stuff up, and we just kind of understand that that's part of having a race car. We've never said, "Hey, dude, I need you to kick in a bunch of money to help us fix that." Usually we'll take that, whatever money they brought as rental and kick that in towards that. Sometimes taking on the shorts, but we're also not a smart team, so I would take us as an example. But generally, we're only going to have people come drive with us who we have big respect and love for, and that would usually do the right kind of thing on something like that anyway. So it's not to say the reason that we haven't ever asked for it is also partly because we haven't ever had to. I think it was bad enough, but I think the ultimate responsibility, ability to take to heart when you're arriving and driving is like Alex said, just to bring the car back for the next driver. That's the biggest thing, is to bring the car back in as good a shape as you took it out, minus a little wear and tear on wear items. But other than that, that's your biggest responsibility. Nobody's looking at you to be the very fastest. Nobody's saying, I need you to go out and make up 30 spots. Nobody's ever going to tell you that. They're going to tell you go out and have fun. But for the most part, nobody's going to be on your case about pace. They're going to be on your case about wrecking stuff.
very good.
Alex?
No, 110% right there with you. And the fact of the matter is, if you do ever find yourself in an A&D seat where someone is telling you to go as fast as you can, I would probably not rent from them ever again.
Well, I mean, it could be a different deal. I mean, I have raced with a couple of teams that are a little more at the competitive end of the field, and when they're really specific about trying to do something, they may say, "Hey, you're our guy. We need you to go out and try to drive as hard as you can. Try to do a little bit of little bit of production, but nobody's ever going to say put yourself in danger. But if you're with some competitive guys,
Yeah.
and the whole deal is set up, like we're all going into this knowing that we could possibly win this race, then the tone might change a little bit. But still, nobody's going to ask you to be unsafe or go drive out of control.
Definitely not. So now, say you're in this whole predicament and everything. How far do you push it? And when do you push it? And do you push it?
You're saying hypothetically, if somebody did say, "Hey, Alex, I need you to go out there and push," you said, "How do you decide how much yourself to push?" At least in my mind, I've been at this for a while, and I kind of know the difference between pushing and not. I think I would push. I'm always sliding the car a little bit anyway, whether it's mine or somebody else's. But that's tough. For me, if somebody says push a little harder, I probably haven't been going near the revs they told me I'm allowed to have, so I might start using the more of the revs I'm allowed. I might dig a little deeper in the brake zones, but also, some of the stuff you're talking about, it's not stuff you want to do all the time. It's not great for the vehicle, and it's not great to be right at the edge of what you could think you can get away with, because eventually you're going to overstep it in a bad way. So I might push pretty hard, but I might do it in spurts. I don't know. Who knows? I feel like I'm going at it pretty hard all the time anyway.
I feel you, but no. So I'm circling this around to something, and this is why I'm asking this. All right, but for you, all right, forget arrive and drive, forget other people's cars, forget it's your car or whatnot. In a race, and you're in it, and you're slightly on the more spearheaded point of the competitive side and everything.
It's an endurance race, though.
Yeah, in an endurance race, do you feel there is a point where it's okay to push, or do you feel that there's a certain level or a limit of, say, like 0.8 is the max you'll ever allow yourself?
No. I'll go full chat if I need to. I'm talking about, if I'm in traffic and I'm coming upon a car that's going to take a little while to pass, but there's somebody behind me that I want to keep behind me, I'll get it done fast, and I'll pull out a few stops. I'm talking about over the period of maybe 2 or 3 laps while I try to. I'm still going to pull the pass off safely, but if somebody's got a lot of pace, it's going to take some effort to pass. I'll go ahead and use all the revs I'm allowed. I might brake a little bit deeper. I might just be a little more on the edge of what I normally would be doing. So maybe I'm probably an 0.8 driver in traffic, I would guess. And I might take it to 9, but who knows? It's also relative. Like I never think of myself as being a 10. Do you guys? Do you guys ever feel like you're fully maxed out?
Mm-mm.
I've never done a 10.
Never.
No.
Right. So
Never.
I think of 9 is like my max. I don't know. But I'll go there. I'll go there in a race.
So
what else is it for, right?
I'll go to my 7. My level is it feels like 10 to me, but I'm sure it's a 7.
Well, that's before we go to what the 10s are, let's go back to just a quick thing to Alex, because I didn't make a decision for Alex to drive, but I gave input for Alex to drive, and my input was based on Alex driving as Alex normally drives. It wasn't for Alex to push it at Thompson, because I said that.
So we're still talking about the infamous Black Betty incident.
Yes, the Black Betty incident. So at no point
Cordoba.
was I under the impression that Alex was going to go push it. It was for Alex to go be Alex, do what he's done.
Well, Alex's claim is that he was doing the 7.
Oh, wait a minute. So you advised him to drive that way?
I did not.
I'm just checking. I just had to clarify this.
I know I'm speaking, but you should listen to me.
I think
it's a marriage thing.
Ooh, sometime.
It's a marriage thing.
Yes, but I think what Bill was trying to say was outside sources and the owners of the car or the team of the car went to him and asking, or basically
we were talking
getting Bill's perspective on me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that it was, Alex, get out there and pound it and, go flat out.
No,
it was
never have.
It was Alex
never
go out
needed
there
to
and do it. And I don't think that was what the original decision was made for. But let's go back to 10s. Let's pretend we started the topic on 10s, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about them intermittently anyway. We've been using them in conversation.
Exactly. So this okay. So
paint in picture.
First fundamental discussion point in my mind for 10s discussion is, are 10s absolute? Is Vicky's 7/10 the same as my 7/10, the same as Ben's, the same as Alex's? I believe the answer is no.
But in a
No.
similar way to if you ask 10 people where they're braking for turn one, you're going to get 10 different answers, but the cars might be mostly stopping around the same place. It's very subjective.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I wasn't sure if it was more the car's limit or the person's limit or both.
It's the combo.
I would say
combination.
70-30 driver car is my split on that.
Well, I mean, the only reason I say that is if Vicky's driving, let's just pick one of our slower cars. Let's pretend we take the turbo off of your Miata and you're driving the Miata, or you're driving Hefe, right? The racetrack.
Right.
Let's say you drive at 8/10. 8/10 in that truck is way different than if you're driving my M3.
Mm-hmm.
Both in lap time and in the way you push it, because the cars feel different. So I think it's a combo, and I don't know what the relative ratio of car to driver is, but even if we agree, I think that it's not an absolute time. It's not if the four of us were in the same car, Ben's 7/10 versus Alan's 7/10 or 8/10. It doesn't matter what number we choose. We're going to end up with a different lap time, and we're going to get there in a different way. I believe.
Yeah.
Agree. So
I guess one of the important things about tense for each person's own relativity is for you to have an idea of what tense are to you,
right,
and be able to go to them in your head and on the track. Like, oh crap, I see a yellow flag in the driver's meeting. They said you should kind of back it down to 7/10 for you to see a yellow flag. That probably means I need, you know what I mean? I think it's important to be able to contextualize it, and then go do it. Like when you hear it in your mind, say, okay, I need to try to hit this lap 9/10, maybe get a couple of, whatever it is. I think it's important to own the relativity to yourself and kind of get used to thinking that way. If you're somebody who thinks in these terms,
And everyone's. Yeah, and your limits and what you're able to push for your tenths and everything, they differ among every single driver, which thus 7/10 for Vicky, 7/10 for Bill, 7/10 for you, Ben, and 7/10 for me. They are all different values and different things that we do. But it's, I think it's, to me, when talking about tenths, it's comfort factor of what you're able to consistently replicate lap by lap by lap in and out of traffic. That's something what I look at tenths, and how much car control, and if there's any loss of traction. It's talking about tenths it's very intricate and it's very complex. And it changes. Yep.
So I happen to have a summary of an article that Peter Krause used to write, and he was talking about tenths, and he defined the tenths, and I wanted to get into the discussion. This was actually what I started the question on, but we wandered off. But hey, why
let's get up on it.
Be any different?
Yep. So let's get in it.
So let's start at 6/10, because most of the time when you're on track, you're talking about more aggressive driving, and he defines 6/10 as a standard HPDE lap or an out lap in an early race event, and the purpose is to familiarize yourself with the racetrack and the car, and you're really not trying to get anything extra out of the car.
I can agree with that.
Okay, so that's kind of normal. 7/10 he defined as an aggressive HPDE lap, where your car starts to move around. So before, 6/10 in this definition would be where Vicky used to talk about making a car float and it drives on rails, and she's not really trying to really push it, but that's kind of where she started, and that's fine. But 7/10,
I thought that was normal.
Well, it is for driving on a highway, but
yes,
for driving on a racetrack, there's more to do. So 7/10, the car starts to move around. That means the back end starts to slide a little bit, the front end starts to slide a little bit, and there can be a relatively wide variation in your lap time depending on the traffic. Okay, so just putting a line in the sand, this is all I'm trying to say, and trying to see you guys chime in when you disagree. So 8/10 is relatively easily sustained, and it does require higher levels of concentration after the first few laps of a race or an endurance race, and the dust settles and you're starting to settle in. The car is sliding, but only at the beginning or the end of a corner, and not every single corner on every single lap. And generally the laps are between 0.8 and 1.5 seconds range apart. And this is where you start talking about being able to comfortably taking people around the track if you're an advanced driver as a demo lap. So you still got plenty of mental processing power. You've got headroom for you to be able to do it, and your margin for error is able to accommodate if the track conditions change. Okay, so not a bad definition. So 9/10 he defines as when you're driving pretty hard, sustainable and repeatable, and the driver is relatively accurate in his placement of the car on the track. The car is sliding much of the time. The driver is really focused on catching or staying ahead of the car or staying ahead of someone, but still maintaining their own discipline and control, and using all of the width of the road, not too much curbing, but some, and drawing large smooth arcs. And the lap times are generally pretty tight, within like 0.2 or 0.8 of a second, barring traffic or mistake. And this, he says, is the limit where he could drive 1 or 2 hot laps and be comfortable with having somebody in the car.
Question.
Sure.
You just said how many tenths in between? Because I
2
believe you
tenths to
said the
8
magic.
tenths.
Okay, you said the magical 0.2 of a second. 0.2 of a second. If you're repeating laps, say on a 1.75 mile track, and you were making laps 0.2 of a second off of each other every single time within 0.2, you are now at that point going 10 tenths. And the reason why I say that is this: very, 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 very few drivers are able to replicate lap times under 0.2 of a second of each other. And in order to do that, you're working probably the higher spectrum or the higher percentage of the slip angle on the car and getting it around track and hitting every single mark on there. I disagree with that 9/10 statement. I do.
We'll stay tuned, Hoss, because it gets better.
It does.
Oh yeah. Okay.
9.5 tenths. This is where he defines as driving hard. There's much more sliding. There's slightly quicker laps, less margin for error, and a lot more work being done in the car. The driver is guiding the car on a path. The car is sliding from turn in through apex.
You missed part of that. The driver is guiding the car on a path selected well in advance. That is a huge key. That is a huge key to what he's saying here.
True. Car is sliding basically from turn in all the way through apex through the entire width, using up the entire car track width and curbs. He says it's difficult to maintain for more than like 5 or 6 laps, and he would not drive with a passenger at this level. I'd be happy if that was my 10 tenths, by the way. Just note to crowd, because I don't think I'm at that level quite yet. Did I lose everybody? Am I the only one here? I am the only one here.
How to use the full track.
Oh, I'm back here. How you doing, guys?
I was like, Bill, I could hear you muttering the entire time, Bill. We heard
Absolutely. We're just watching you. You just kind of went off in a stutter, and
you guys got anything to say? Nothing. Silence. I'm like,
I was like, man, this guy is having.
Oh, they're all in here talking.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I don't think you're on the recording.
Check it out later. Cut that.
No worries.
Cut it out.
So I think you guys froze when I said I'd be more than happy if that was my 10 tenths. But
wait a second. We didn't freeze. You froze.
I mean, we got 3 people on one internet.
Plymouth Rock landed on us. We did not land on Plymouth Rock.
Don't make me.
We were talking about the 9.5 tenths. I was saying,
yeah,
I agree with this guy's assessment between 9 and 9.5. Like 9 is the absolute fastest. It's just relating to passengers. Like I like to take passengers out about doing 9, 8.5, 9 lap with them. Kind of freak them out, because half that entertainment of taking a passenger out is just to make them like crap their pants. But when you talk about this 9.5, where you're pretty much sliding from curb to curb, from sliding at the entry all the way down to the apex and really getting after it, that's just for the race.
Yeah, never with that. Like I said, and following up with Ben was, when I have a passenger in the car, I won't make the cut tires squeal at all, but I will show them how to use the full racetrack. Yeah, that's only reserved to love interest and basically going ahead and getting them to pee their pants. That's the only ones it is, because a true sign of trust is them allowing you to go ahead and drive a car around a track at speed with them in the passenger seat.
Well, Vicky doesn't trust me. That's for damn sure. Wait, was that?
I trust you.
Wait a second. Do I trust you? Ben, do you trust him?
I will. I'm right with that.
Yeah.
Bill,
do you?
I am never.
Bill, do you trust yourself?
I've never driven with anybody at 9 tenths in the car. I won't do it.
Have you ever driven by yourself at 9 tenths?
Oh yeah, by these definitions.
Have you ever driven the wheels off a car?
Have you ever tried to swallow the mic?
Shots fired. Shots fired.
So are we going to go? We're taking it all the way to 10?
So we're going to 10. Actually, I think 11's
Yep.
my most fun. So 10 tenths. Vicky, you've been very quiet. Are you agreeing with any of this?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening to all the men folk talk.
huge value there.
Yeah.
It's the values and the returns of what we get paid back.
All right, very well. All right, so 10 tenths. Why do I do this to myself? Anyway, this is substantially skilled and supremely confident driver trying to match the level of the car perfectly. The car is sliding nearly the entire lap. Slip angles of 7 to 12 degrees on DwD tires, slightly less on radial slicks. Sustained throughout the length of most of the turns, the entire width of the road, inside, outside, all curbing as needed. Pavement extensions used every corner, every lap, and the previous lap is at a 9 or 9.5. So this is a hot lap, and it started with the greatest possible speed. This is like where you're trying to get a flyer. Never done one of these, by the way. I've gotten close, but never really done one. What do you guys think of that for 10 tenths?
What do you think, Vic?
Full out. It's all capability to me. It's like,
Yeah, where do you think your tenths top out at this moment? Do you think you have a 10 tenths yet, or
By
10
these-
tenths?
oh
By
no,
these-
I have no 10 tenths.
By these
Right.
definitions.
No, I don't have a 10 tenths.
So where do you think you kind of are? Your current limit per this definition?
I think I'm probably, for that definition, probably a 7 tenths.
That's where you cap out. That's good though. I mean, for what he's defining here, there's nothing wrong with that from your experience level. I think this makes a whole lot more sense than everybody having their own relative system of tenths,
Yeah.
which is the reality. Everybody kind of does.
Yeah.
But if everybody went by this rubric and had the same understanding, the idea of tenths would make a lot more sense. And I like his analysis. Peter Krause is a smart dude who's local. Helps a lot of pro drivers and like rich ass doctors and shit get their stuff together in vintage racing or whatever.
Mhm.
So he's a good guy to listen to. Always good to read his stuff with Ross's. He and Ross do a lot of stuff together. But yeah, I like his analysis. And this guy, the guy who's writing this, is a guy who goes out and wins big time races and stuff like that. He's not just some dude talking. He's a very successful racer. So
Yes.
good info here.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Former
7
podcast.
tenths for me is that I know I have skill sets that I still need to work on. I know that I have a level of fear of it getting away from me. So it's mental, and I haven't overcome that in order to trust the car and trust myself. So, but I know these things, and those things are what I'm working on to be able to get to that next level.
So
Yes.
So I agree. You're a 7 right now, 7 tenths driving.
Mhm.
But do you think you're closer to the 6 side of the world or closer to the 8 side of the world?
8.
I agree.
I think I'm close to the 8, only because that I've acknowledged what the limitations are, and I'm still working on them.
Okay.
Methodically.
Wait till
So
Robin gets a hold of you this year.
leading into what I want to ask you, Becky, what do you think your cap really is? Where do you think you'll ever top off?
Probably a 9, only because I want to make sure that the car comes back.
Okay.
And I
Is
got
that-
kids.
And I
Yep.
got kids. Yeah, I'm telling you, and he's right. If I go down, the wheel stops. If Bill goes down, the wheel stops. So listen, we had a person on our podcast,
But the wheels on the bus go
Mark
round and
Petronas.
round.
Yeah.
Mark Petronas, and he basically said, what are you really taking those risks for?
Yep.
Bragging rights? I mean, the stupid risks, the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you really doing it for? I mean, are you doing it for a trophy? Are you going to put yourself in, if you're doing 10 tenths and now it's mental 10 tenths, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for bragging rights? You're not doing it for money. You don't have a sponsorship around the corner. So you really have to weigh those risks, as he was saying, in, and if something does happen and you go off, I mean, yes, you don't want to be constantly thinking about that, but that the reality is that not that anything seriously would happen, but I mean, the wheel stops in your house for a while, and there's a risk factor in that. So you really have to weigh those things. That's why I think I would always top out at a 9. I don't think I would ever push the risk harder than that. Yeah.
Good, Alex.
Alex.
You brought something up. I'm about to tangent out here, and ladies, gentlemen, sorry for tangenting out here, but you had something here and something really important. All of us, we all do endurance racing. We all get into cars that are either our own or foreign to us. By a show of hands or by a show of yays or nays, how many of you actually practice an emergency withdrawal from your car?
I haven't.
3.
I'm bad about it every single time, but I'm good about doing it. But I'm bad about catching it every single time I get in the car. So I can definitely be better. But it's important to practice your emergency egress. Like you need to really get. I mean, that was one of the big motivations. But besides the fact that I've been driving it forever and ever, but when I got rid of my Miata, we had put in like a what's the thing called, a halo seat in there, and just made it harder and harder to get out of there. And
it's hard to get out of me off those.
Like I was like I'm 6 foot something. I've got a little kid. Me getting out of that thing was an ass first process. I looked like that Ace Ventura movie where he's coming out of that Rhino.
Come out of the Rhino, Ace Ventura too.
Yeah. I can get out of that car in a hurry. I'd practiced it a bunch of times. I can get out of that car in a hurry when there's nothing wrong and I'm just doing it in my garage. But I had to be honest, like, if I'm panicking and this thing's on fire or whatever, I'm freaking the hell out. Can I really do this? And that was a decision making point. Me kind of getting rid of that car and thinking about building something else.
Yeah. Have you ever practiced getting out the passenger side?
No.
That's a good idea. Though. It's probably pretty smart to be doing that too, right?
Yep. Until you've landed in a car upside down or wedged against something. Yeah. One of my buddies, Dan, he got flipped at New Jersey Motorsports. God, it was 4 years ago. And he had to egress out of the passenger side, which he never practiced for. And that fatigued something in me. I'm like, man, I need to know how to get out from the passenger side, from the driver's side, from if it's a four-door from the back door, or if it's like a Miata through where the convertible roof is. It's just something to look forward at,
Was Dan doing 10 tenths?
No. Dan pushes the car to about 8.5 tenths by definition of what we have just defined, which I agree with some, I disagree with others, but you want to know something? It's great to actually have a definition and some sort of levels and layers to what they actually mean, because they mean something different to me. And I know they mean something different to you, and I know they mean something different to Bill, which is good because this is a conversation that really needs to be done between all of us. But no, Dan is a constant 8.5 driver, always looking to go ahead and push faster, be better, be more precise. Our last time we raced together, our driving levels are similar with each other. But he was an innocent bystander, collected up in this incident by, he got clipped going into 3AB, which is the second chicane at New Jersey on Thunderbolt, and dug into the sand and flipped him over in the Volvo, and he had to egress out of the passenger side, from what I was told.
Yeah, what?
He had to get out the passenger side.
He had to get out from the passenger side.
Okay.
No fire or anything like that, but you're upside down, high world, and you smell fuel. GTFO of that car if you're smelling fuel at that point, because obviously the plug's not doing its job.
That's the
if you're upside down, get out. If you're upside down, get out, no matter what else is going on. Because if you don't smell fuel yet, you're going to smell fuel, so get out.
Yeah.
But Vicky, just because you're looking like your self-imposed limit is 9 is really good. Especially
according to this list, 9 is hauling ass.
Yeah, it's it's just calculating the risk factors is more important for me. Instead of making the stupid for the win. So
if you had an E46 at your disposal,
if only,
what tenths would you want to drive that at? And bar where you feel you're at right now, but in safety land where nothing bad happens, it's just you, the track, the car, and this imagination land, how hard would you want to push that car?
The E46, the Cage D46 that's coming, you know,
It's pretty much
I
a
would
rock
start
star
out
car.
with that car with a 6/10.
Mhm.
Only for a starter, but I would probably rev it up to an 8.
You'd lie.
I mean, I would eventually get to a 9, but 9 would be.
Can I just offer one aspect that you're ignoring that I know for a fact affects you? What track you're at.
It does. It will. If it's a
would
familiar
drive-
track, I would drive it all out.
What's your happy place?
Not Watkins Glen.
Not Watkins Glen. The walls. It doesn't have walls. My happy place, Pitt. I think I've
race
been
is
really
great.
enjoying Pitt, because it's large and there's a lot of
Gingerman.
movement and well, they only been Gingerman once, but the other one that I really enjoy,
Gingerman's fun.
I do like Mid Ohio Dry, and I do like yeah.
Is that on
And
the rocks?
NJMP.
Is that on the
Yeah.
rocks or straight up? I
Yeah,
like Minnesota.
I'll be only
That's
doing
neat.
30 miles an hour if I was raining. So
Vicky's
I
like,
wouldn't go.
cut that.
That's right. But I like NJMP only because it's probably my first track and it's familiar.
Thunderbolt.
I love
Both of them. Both.
Both. Okay. What about
Both.
you,
You're
Mr.
gonna love Thunder. You're gonna love Thunder Hill when you get there, I think, because it's got tons of
I-
runoff and it's a really fun track.
Yep. I can't
Well,
wait
Ben,
to do that. Bucket
You're going
list.
to be VIR, right?
Oh, so what?
You're going to be VIR for your happy place.
I'm not happy places anywhere the wheels touch under green and I'm passing somebody. I'm giving it. I'll race you up the block. I don't care.
Levinson.
Me?
Wherever the race is. I'm not happy place.
I find no matter where I go, as long as there's a race car, there's asphalt, there are four wheels that are actually touching the ground at some point or another, hopefully collectively together, making forward momentum.
Mhm.
And anywhere where I can go ahead and pull more than a G on a turn, that's my happy place. Track wise though, Ben, so here's one because this is coming up in a couple weeks. You've been to CMP.
Many times.
Okay, so I can go ahead and tell you that Pit Race is a lot like CMP and CMP is a lot like
Okay.
Pit Race.
Cool.
Pit Race has a few more elevation changes, actually a few drastic elevation changes that CMP does not have. However, I think CMP would be a happy place for Vicky.
CMP.
I think so.
It's a great competition track. I wouldn't probably go there for a track event. I've been there for like one track event before, but I've been there for a bunch of races. It's a great, it's a great track to race on. A lot of competitive stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of fun.
The kink, I have lost a 944 at over 100 miles per hour on the kink and collected it and was able to go through. That was a lot of fun. Didn't think it was going to happen.
I've never fully lost anything in the kink. I've tried.
The curbing, you miscalculate the curbing.
You hit the first curve, then you don't go anywhere close to the second curve. There's a split curve at the kink. You just go nuts on that first curve. Don't even go anywhere.
First
try
one
for the second one. Just let the first one launch you out, and you're good to go. Just for you, Bill. But you're going to see it for the first time.
2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
2 weeks.
I can't wait.
What do you driving?
know.
We're so far off topic. Just tell me what you're driving before we kill this dead horse.
Is there a way I can do a share picture on this?
No, I've seen your
Well,
pictures.
You can just tell,
we're
you can just
driving
tell
an
me. I know what cars look like.
E36, please.
You saw the
Cool.
E36. It's
I know what they
instinctively
look like. That's
misguided.
cool. Okay, cool. Cool. What kind of brake pads are you running? Oh, is it
everyone's
Oh.
favorite endurance race pad.
Gotcha.
The
front and
the
rear.
the front and rear right now, that's going to go ahead, and the rears are probably going to get changed sometime in the future as we get to know the car more. But I mean, it's a Ford Focus ST 4.3. So think about that for a second. A Ford
Your
Focus.
codes are so hard to
Oh yes, I definitely I know what that was.
God,
You might consider. I'm just going to throw a pad recommendation out there to pair like a fine wine with your fronts. You
Yeah.
might dig the Porterfield R4E in the back. Might be a good split.
Yep. So
Something to
yeah,
try.
that's what we actually run in the Miata. We run STs in the front and we run the R4s in the rear.
Yeah.
I like that. It does
All right,
translate
cool.
over to BMWs then.
We did it on our E30. I mean, obviously E30 and E36 aren't the same braking system, but on our E30 we would get almost exactly the same pad wear when we did that kind of pairing, and it was braking good. This is before that big long time where we didn't have any rear brakes and didn't know it, so I know it wasn't that.
I actually like that. We're going to throw this out for the next race then, and this would be good for AER and Pit and Lemons and Pit. So that actually gave a great idea.
Okay.
At the rear brake lines.
We only wandered into 7 farmer fields from this one dominating with Dawson. Please let me out. Pull the string. Pull the string.
No,
Oh,
hold my
he's still
beer.
going.
We're not done yet.
He's still going.
This is a bonus episode for everybody. Really getting deep.
That's right.
Oh God, yeah.
Seacrest out. Thanks, Ben.
Out.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is that? I got. Any topics, Vicky?
2022. Did I what?
I was talking to Vicky, but she's not listening.
Oh snap!
Not connected yet.
Yep, it's back.
What is up?
It's an Alex and it's a Ben.
There we go. Got a change up tonight. Good. Good
Yeah,
move.
Jen's looking
Switch
bad
hitting,
tonight.
you know.
Jen's looking really bad tonight.
Yeah, if somebody's in bed at like 7, so I'm usually like, well, I probably had a great day.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Any topics du jour or just go for it?
I'm sorry, I haven't even opened the document yet.
So
You know,
I'll
the
so I'll take
Dawson
it as
style is just wide
du
open
jour.
all the time.
Okay.
Let's see. Anybody got a hot topic they're thinking about?
Hot topic? No, I've got topics.
Hey, Ben.
Howdy, what's up, dude?
Oh, very good. Sorry, Alex, we were overlapping.
Vicky, do you have
Hey,
anything?
I know
you
that
wanna do?
face.
What's that?
Do you have anything that you want
Well,
to do?
I'm still setting up, so just give me like I just hopped on.
See, what she's
Uh,
trying to say here is, would you give me a good goddamn minute, please?
Thank
God
you.
damn.
I've got
Right?
limited-
That's what she's
I've
trying to- I'm
got
just trying to-
limited time for Ben. I'm
Yeah.
trying to maximize my Ben,
Oh,
I've-
self-diagnosis of driving. That's
and
a
I've-
good one.
and I've already got Alex here, so I know I'm not going to get anything done.
That's right.
Giving me shit.
Self-diagnostic of driving. I go straight. I turn. I don't brake. Let's go.
It's
Works
started
perfect.
already. Okay.
No, this is topic. This was diagnosis of self-driving. I think that's absolutely perfect. Put in car go forward it go.
Why do I do this?
Do you want to talk about tents?
Could.
I don't have a whole lot to say, but I'm never really thinking in terms of tents, but it's something people talk about, you know.
What do you mean tents? As in like having a
Like I
tent?
was, no, tent, like 1 out of 10 tents.
I drive 8 tenths.
Oh, yes,
Exactly, like-
yes.
That
Yeah.
kind of conversation. Because people rattle that shit
I like
off all
the
time.
temps.
Oh god. He's
Yeah.
killing me. Which
I
one
like
do
to
you
drive
want to
7
I don't think
tenths
I've
on the road.
ever.
What?
Yes, why don't we do a little bit of terminology for the beginners?
Tenths?
Yeah.
Because people like tents, what does that mean? Like
intensity or concentration, all that.
Very, very well. All right. Shall we?
Yep.
We shall.
All right, very well.
Buffy, let's begin. Let's have some tennis.
He's untrainable. There's nothing I can do. Anyway.
Nope.
All right.
Right.
Actually, by the way, untrainable, ungovernable, that's the way you need to open this one up. That would be perfect.
All right. I'm just gonna put out there just real quick. Move your mic away from your face a little bit because you come across really loud.
He's coming
All
in
right,
hot.
how's that?
That's good.
Shh,
Yeah.
don't let the ladies know that. We'll be in big trouble if we do.
All right.
There we go.
Let's
That's
pretend
good.
Let's pretend we're starting now, gentlemen and ladies.
All right. We're gonna try to keep this railed in,
All right.
Alex.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right.